All right, what's going on? Giants game day. We are live. How's everybody doing? Myself, Danny King. We're gonna hit you for about 30 minutes, and we got some like pressing breaking news. We were waiting. We thought this news would break, um, and it looks like, guys, that Saquon Barkley is playing. Saquon Barkley is playing. Um, he was supposedly 50-50, Danny, and Justin broke the news that he went for it happened in practice on Wednesday or so, and then on Friday he went for an MRI after practice. Um, so like this isn't just like a little bit of soreness. Like the fact that they played it up until this moment like means like there's a real injury there. Um, and personally for me, I again, and people are like, well, you can't punt. I'm not punting this game. But historically, when Saquon's been like banged up and played, he hasn't been super effective. Hopefully today can buck that trend. But I just don't know if like Saquon Barkley injured is going to help us a ton, especially if we're going to want to feed him a ton.
No, yeah, that's because I only found out that he went for the MRI this morning when I saw Justin's tweet because I wasn't on social media yesterday. But besides that, bedside Kodai. But basically, I agree with you. If he's injured or if there is a chance that like when he's out there actually playing, he's just not 100%, just pull him, dude. Because Saquon, he's he's a competitor and he's not going to want to come out of the game. He's going to do whatever he can to win. But he's basically our offense. And if the Giants are going to make a stretch run, the biggest game of the season was last week. But now the next biggest game of the season is next week against the Commanders because that also determines a lot. Like this game still matters, of course, but the Eagles are good. And like you guys said, that the Eagles just get out to like a however many point lead. If the 13 points, 10-point lead, that could be enough to just end the Giants' day because his offense revolves around him. Oh wow, he left. That was impressive. The sneeze was so powerful that he left. So that was kind of funny.
All right, back. Um, the question is there a risk of like injuring it worse? Because if that's the case, then he definitely shouldn't be playing to me. Um, and every game you need to go in and do whatever you can to win the game. So this isn't like, well,
Yeah,
next game's more like in reality, yes. Is next game more important than this game? Yes. Um, because if we win this week and lose next week, well, guess what? We're out of the playoffs. If we lose this week and win next week, we're in the playoffs because the tiebreaker with the Commanders, and um we'd be just one game up on the Commanders because they would have lost. Um, so you almost go 2 games up on the Commanders if that's the scenario because you have the tiebreaker with them. But it's for me, it's not because of next week is so important. It's just I want Saquon to be healthy for the stretch down the stretch, you
yeah,
know. And I just think giving him a week with a neck injury would be the best case scenario, and giving him like there's not a way to like baby your neck playing running back. Like it's
yeah.
gonna get bruised and battered. So, uh,
And I will say, it's just so funny to me. And I'm not blaming the guy, but the year the Giants induct Ronnie Barnes into the Ring of Honor, all like these silly injuries have popped up. Like I understand it's just life,
all
but
these
it's
neck
just so
injuries.
funny.
What
Yeah, the neck injuries. What's the? Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not gonna. I don't get conspiracy theory with I don't do those with injuries because it's just injuries are something that we always want answers to, and there's really no reporter or fan can really give you a real answer. So we're just kind of grasping at straws. But it does make you wonder: is there something in their workout regimen with this new staff that is leading to these injuries? So
There's got to be something.
um, that being said, so do you think that they're gonna manage his work like I hear more carries in this game? Saquon Barkley or Gary Brightwell and Matt Breida combined?
Mm. Because yes, of course Saquon's playing, but how much is he actually going to truly play? I Right now, I'm honestly going to say Breida and Bridewell will have more combined carries.
Um,
I just don't see or I could just be blind thinking that like they're like gonna manage his workload but Saquon is still the whole offense. But I believe they're gonna put Saquon's best interest first, and because like you said, if you get an MRI on his neck, there was clearly something up with his neck, and like other players didn't play because of a neck injury. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I
I
don't
think
like that.
Saquon's going to get more. It's just the way football works. It's like when a guy's playing, they play him, especially like Saquon, because like you said, Saquon Barkley had essentially like they've used him as the offense this year. So I think he's getting 35 carries like he did versus the Texans. No, but I do think they'll give more carries to Breida and Brightwell than they usually do. But I think at the end of the day, Saquon's going to have about 14, 15 carries, and those other guys won't be able to combine for more than unless it's a blowout. And then in that case, but in the first 3 quarters, I will say that Saquon will have more carries than those guys.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assumption.
CJ Griffith, appreciate the question. Isaac Samuel, he's the guard for the Eagles. Honestly, I don't really watch free agents until the season's over. But he's actually their worst offensive lineman, which speaks of how good the Eagles O-line is. Like you have Lane Johnson, who's playing like the best right tackle in football right now. Samola, Jason Kelsey, who's a beast. Like you don't realize how good Jason Kelsey is until you like watch him play in, play out. It's like this guy does everything the right way. Landon Dickerson, who's been a beast for them in his second year, and then Jordan Mailata, who is a solid left tackle. He's not great, but he's a solid left tackle. Can be. That's another thing. If we win this game, I got to share the crying picture again.
Jordan Mailata cries. That'd be fantastic stuff.
What if we made him cry again? Like that's just the thing. Like,
I would love that.
Something about MetLife Stadium makes him cry.
I would love to see Jordan Mailata cry again.
Let's see. All right, hit us with some questions. We kind of got through the Saquon talk. So basically, long story short, I don't agree with playing Saquon. Historically shown he's not very effective when he's playing injured. That goes back to 2019 when he had this, came back like as quick as possible from the sprained ankle. Even though there was some good moments in there, but he kind of got like progressively worse after that sprained ankle, which can happen. And then obviously last year, but last year's kind of its own case, but still, like we just seen and look at the last month since the shoulder injury.
Yeah, exactly.
Effective. So Anthony asks, who will line up over Mailata, Vaughn or Aziz? It's a rare thing to have the worst tackle be on the blind side. I think we'll get more Kayvon there. Last year Mailata handled Aziz pretty well. I think we get Kayvon usually more so on that side. So we'll see. So is Leo playing? No, Tim, or at least I don't think that he is.
It'd be kind of shocking if he does. I think yesterday he was doubtful.
So I know we're all excited about the front 4 of the Giants now. Well, now front 3 because Leo's out. That being said, like we said, this Eagles O-line is so good that this is not going to be like these guys are just going to flat out win consistently. Like they could get some wins, but they're not going to win consistently like they did versus the Commanders. So this has to be a game where Wink draws up and Wink did it versus the Commanders too. People act like we were just rushing 4 versus the Commanders. Like no, like there was a lot of times we had Azeez Ojulari got a QB hit as a free rusher. Obviously Kayvon's Sack was on a free rusher. As some of Azeez stuff was versus tight end. So that's another thing. Like win your battles versus when you have Jack Stahl is blocking you in pass protection. And the Azeez strip sack came versus a tight end last week. So they switch them both. But they play them on both sides. But just Wink's got to throw everything at. I said on the preview pod. I'll repeat it now while we get some questions in. Is that this has to be a Wink Martindale game? Like he's got to dial up. Like he's just got to continue throwing crazy stuff at Jalen Hurts because when stuff is like when Jalen Hurts knows what's coming at him, he's amazing. He makes the right decision. He has super high completion percentage, only 3 interceptions. He knows when to take off and run. He's not running early. So there's that. So and then with the receivers, so some teams because AJ Brown is so good, they will play off of him. That's not the way I would play against him. And I know he can beat you then, but when you play off of him, they just go to him for easy stuff, like easy, quick release, slant, out, speed out, like those type of things. So I think you just got to play him aggressively and live with him winning some 50-50 balls. And then Devontae Smith is the one I would give more attention to on money downs, just because he's a separator. AJ Brown separates, but he's not known as a separator. Devontae Smith is, and that's on third down is like when Jalen Hurts will look to him, and he has the same amount of catches as as AJ Brown this year. Doug Analytics points out too. Hurts has the 26th ranked EPA versus the blitz. So like you got to blitz, and this is the Wink Martindale game, which is funny because last year, I mean, Jalen Hurts' worst game was against the Patrick Graham, like too high stuff in that game. And they were just like there. It was weird, but Jalen Hurts has gotten better since that game.
It would just be nice. I forgot it. It'd be nice if our number one corner was actually able to be used today, but we thought punt returns are more important.
No, and you know what? If Adoree Jackson was playing today, I think they would put him on Devontae Smith, and then like kind of put Fabian Moreau on AJ Brown, and then just like give some safety, like shade the safety over to help him, and then not having McKinney. So yeah, not having Adoree Jackson. Not having Adoree Jackson sucks every week. Like they win, last week if Adoree Jackson plays. So
yeah, I agree.
Let's see. He squeezed himself out of the chat. What are we talking about here? Timothy, do you think they will be more aggressive and go for it more fourth downs than you? Yeah, I think if the situation is there, yes. Yeah. I think these are the games. Let's see. Pat Donovan is mad. I want to get our chats back to the way they are. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to pull up. Give me a question, and I want to fix our chats. Oh, here we go. All right. So while I try and
that's fun. That's a fun question.
How do we get back? All right, I fixed the chat. Does Williams and Crowder get any more playing time this week? No, I don't think they're going to reward them for that. And even then, if they I think Darnay is going to play this week, right? Like, I think. By the way, let us know if when the inactive active list is out, guys. I think Darnay
should play this week.
I think Darnay is going to play this week, and I think they like Nick McLeod. Like Nick McLeod is not just lining up at corner; they move him around all over. They'll put him in the box. They'll use him like just covering running backs. Like they put him all. They'll put him on tight ends. They use him all over the field. So yeah, I don't see Rodarius and Crowder. I think they just like Jalen Smith better. I think Rodarius has a better chance to play. I think they just like Crowder better. And Crowder's tweets were a lot more like they just flat out said free me. And I appreciate people, but I don't promote your own stuff in the chat. I can't stand that.
I don't like what's his name, Crowder. Just like bro, let's be real here.
Here's the thing, though. I think Tay Crowder should be playing, but he's not. The reason he should be playing is because Jalen Smith sucks, not because Tay Crowder is being done wrong.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, what they just like what Jalen Smith brings to the table more than Tay Crowder. But it's like next time you're out there, just make your name known.
I tweeted out, I was like, Tay Crowder should be starting. People are like, well, why would you bench Michael McFadden? It's like, no. I would not bench Michael McFadden, which Michael McFadden hasn't played horrible. When you go and watch him, like I think he's actually been fairly decent at times, but he's not a Mike linebacker, and he's not playing that position. I think Tay Crowder should be the Mike linebacker now.
Yep.
And when I say that, he'll go out there and not be good, absolutely. But I think he's better than Jalen Smith, where Jalen Smith just gets washed up by blocks too easily. And I like if. So, but anyway, at the end of the day, we have 3 will linebackers on the team. Like none of these guys should be Mike linebackers.
Linebacker, it just needs to be upgraded in the offseason.
So it's just whichever one looks as that playing Mike linebacker is going to look worse because none of them fit that. Let's see. Has anyone from Talking Giants crew been to an NFL draft live? No. I don't think we ever will either. Maybe like when we're washed up and we're mailing it in, but I don't think we'll ever because it's just like it's literally the biggest work weekend of the year for us. Like it's like months and months of preparation go into that one weekend, and that is the weekend where it's like I am like everything I say is like this is huge. Like this is it's like our biggest area of growth every single year.
I do have a quick update. Justin said Snacks is in a really bad spot right now. Definitely not making it through the game. First quarter exit his guess, so it's gonna be a tough day on that life for people in 348.
Very nice. Justin, how about Justin breaking the news and to be like?
I can't believe that was
Can I tell you something? Whenever we
Go
get news, unless it's like something it's like we want to like break this, like we try and scratch the beat reporters' backs. Like we'll send it to them, like, hey, this, and be like, do your job, because we don't want to. We're not beat reporters at the end of it. We don't want to break news.
But when it's good stuff like that.
So like this was the same thing. The Kadarius Toney, when I reported that he was in New Jersey and was in the stadium after the trade rumor stuff, not the stadium, the Quest Diagnostic Center. Those were like, we told beat reporters that, like, hey, go do your job, and they didn't do it. So the next day, it's like, all right, they didn't do nothing with it, just tweet it, and it ends up always like then 12 hours later, they're like, oh yeah, this is actually true.
That's hilarious.
How did we find out that Aaron Robinson tore his ACL 2 months after it happened?
Yeah,
like,
come on. That is kind of crazy. I read that. I was like, wait, we just found out this guy had a partially torn ACL. Like, what are we doing here? That's the one job. Let me know if my players are healthy.
That's like the easiest part of the job is finding out if a guy has a torn ACL or not.
And I feel like they at this point would give you an idea. Like, what are we doing here, people? What are we doing?
And even
here?
Saquon today, who found out? Sal Paolantonio, Mike Garafolo, none
of the actual New York Giants beat reporters.
Oh, inactive list is out. Oh, let's guess before we actually. No, there's so many injuries that guessing it is not as fun this week.
This would be a tough day at the office.
All right, so.
Oh wow.
Ian Book is inactive for the the Eagles. So, all right, so inactives.
I don't know. No David Sills. Tragic.
David Sills. So. Ooh, someone asked if Rodarius Williams was going to play.
He's not.
Homie's inactive. Homie is inactive.
Tragic.
Which is, who did they call up from the practice squad this week?
I could look real quick while you go for the rest. Oh, Zion Gilbert and Ryder Anderson.
Ryder Anderson. So Rodarius Williams.
Inactive.
Like that's got to be punishment, right? And then the thing with Tay Crowder is like you can't.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The thing is you can't make Tay Crowder inactive. There's no other inside linebacker on the team. That's as a backup.
I just find it. Well, yeah, I would just find it weird that they would only punish one guy, not the other guy, but both guys did the same thing. But like I said, Tay Crowder is a little more valuable right now in terms of.
But you just can't.
What Giants have.
Smith or Michael McFadden gets injured, you don't have another inside linebacker on the roster. I don't believe.
So I mean,
Austin Calitro's gone.
Maybe it's just unfortunate for Darius Williams at that position. While not very good, it has bodies.
Was Nick Vannett called up from the practice squad?
Nick Vannett was not.
Was he signed to the active roster?
I could look. Roster.
Because Lawrence Cager's inactive too.
Yeah, I believe he's on the active roster now, Nick Vannett.
So it's crazy. Like the way they use the tight ends is so kind of crazy. Like so they cut Tanner Hudson, which makes sense if you have Lawrence Cager. And then I guess they just want Nick Vannett out there. I guess they like Nick Vannett more than Lawrence Cager, that they want to play him over him.
It's kind of sad. It's just Lawrence Cager that one day was like
Lawrence Cager went from like playing the majority of the snaps to just an inactive 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, sorry. There's just maintenance here before toilets broke yesterday. That was exciting.
And then Ben Bredesen wasn't activated from the IR, so we have.
So that means it's Nick Gates again at left guard.
Gates at left guard, Feliciano at center, which delays us riding by a week, because if they put John Feliciano at center and Nick Gates on the bench at any point, like you said, there will be riots. There will be riots. Nick Gates should be playing center, by the way. I want Nick Gates playing center. I don't even know. This is the thing, Orchard Sky. When we signed Landon Collins, me and Justin were like, cool story, but like he doesn't fit anywhere on the roster. And then Tony Jefferson got hurt. It's like, okay, he can be called up to be that dime linebacker. And then when Tony Jefferson's healthy, I mean, I guess a job is a job for Landon at this point, but I don't know why. Like there's no role. Like it's kind of weird to bring someone back like that who has such a status in the organization on the team, and now he's just like on the practice squad for the rest of the year. And there's no plan to bring him on the active roster unless Tony Jefferson gets hurt. That's the only way.
It's so. I mean, like you said, great story that he's back. I was excited that he's back, and I felt like, oh, what a redemption story we got on our hands here. And then he has done really nothing. So
yeah, so that's got to be kind of frustrating for him. And I'm not the biggest Landon Collins fan either, but that's got to be frustrating for him.
I like Gabe's question. Do you think Kafka Dable opens up the playbook? Because like Kafka been kind of gun shy in recent weeks, but that's just based off the cards he's been dealt. And do you think that's just, or do you think what do you think about that? Because
I think if they self-scouted this past week, they should, because this play action stuff is like run play action. Do not run it on 2nd and long and 3rd and 5s. Like that was, I went and charged it last week, and it was insane. Like I can pull up the numbers here in a second. And again, I am asking for more deep passing, but what I'm asking for mainly, more so than deep passing, is drop back passing. Because guess what? You allow Daniel Jones to get to the checkdowns. It allows you to get yourself in second and good 2nd down positions. And get yourself, keep yourself out of 3rd and longs, which running can do. There's a lot higher chance of running the ball on 1st down, putting you in a 2nd and long or a 3rd and long than throwing you the ball on. It's just the way. I mean, Daniel Jones has a high completion percentage this year. It's just the way it is. You have the whole playbook open on 1st and 10. You don't have the whole playbook open on 2nd and 13, even though the Giants have operated. So, I do think open it. And also the Darius Slayton, people use the Darius Slayton drop last week as a reason not to throw deep more. That's a reason to throw deep more, because it's open. Like there's chances to be taken. There's big plays to be made, and don't let one drop from a guy who's been your wide receiver one, who's been good for you this year, scare you away from having another big play. Because guess what? If that's the case, then don't throw the Darius Slayton 55-yard pass earlier in the Commanders game.
That was one of the dumbest arguments because of that drop. It's like, I understand he really messed up with that drop. It was like, turn the game type of drop. But he's been the only one of the few guys that has actually contributed to this offense at all this year, besides anyone named Saquon Barkley and Daniel Bellinger, really. So please, just don't hate Darius Slayton because of that. Just think about where he came from at the start of the season to be like nothing to our number one receiver now. He's done more than Kenny Golladay has done on his deal, and we're paying Kenny Golladay $72 million. Realistically, it should be Darius Slayton getting paid $72 million. I'm not saying you pay him $72 million, but you get my point.
Someone tweet that. Danny King says Darius Slayton is worth $72 million.
Put it out there.
And Doug Analytics makes a great point. A 0-yard run is the same as a 50-yard incompletion.
Yeah. Preach, Doug.
Let's see. Here's another thing. David Sills, healthy scratch. My question is, why is David Sills on the roster?
Yeah, I mean,
you got Isaiah Hodgins. Kenny Galladay's on the team. I know he's not going to play, but I just don't get why Sills is on the roster over. It really seems like he's just such good friends with Daniel Jones, and like David Sills following Daniel Jones around the country all year long is finally just paying off for him. That he's got a roster spot.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a fun story. The David Sills Army, let's go. It's great at the preseason, but like you said, he just doesn't do anything for us come regular season time. What's the point? I want players that contribute.
The chat reminded me to look at Darius Slayton's. I want to see what his drop percentage was for this year, because I know last year was 10%, which was insane. And I saw the graphic from yesterday. I wanted to see if that was. Gosh, he has a higher drop percentage than he did last year. That's crazy.
All right, wow.
Now that was the first big deep drop last week, but there has been there's been 5 others where they were there. His rookie year, he had a 2.4% drop rate.
Wait, what drop rates do you look at? What
Pro
site?
Football Reference. He has an 11.5% on Pro Football. Pro Football Reference usually is the most accurate with stats.
I mean, I use PFF since I pay for it.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're relatively close. PFF has it a little higher.
I think Pro Football Reference is a little less liberal than So I where it's with pressures, PFF will be guy had 15 pressures this game. Pro Football Reference let's relax. Let's define a pressure a little better. But still, 11.5% is insanely high, regardless of last year's was insanely high. This year's is higher. So yeah, but you can't let drops scare you from scoring points. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like we've said, he's the one that actually has like contributed
Yeah.
to. I think last PFF had Harry Slayton as the number one drop rate player last year. That's wow.
So this is the funny thing. How much you think the run game is affected with no Leo? I think affected hugely. Is we spent a lot of the preview pod, Danny. We'll go about another 5 more minutes. Me and Justin spent about a lot of the preview pod talking about how Jalen Hurts has progressed, how to handle AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and this great offensive line. Like we spent the majority talking about that, and then it's like, oh yeah, their running game is really good, and like I don't like if they just decide to run the ball this game, they're going to do it and they'll win. So like that, like you can put so much pressure on yourself, like worrying about this passing offense. It's like, yeah, they very well may just run the damn ball all game and win. So yeah, the run game actually fears me more than AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts scrambling. Like it's like if they just stick to the run, I think they will have success because they run a lot of misdirection. Jalen Hurts obviously, like Jalen Hurts probably runs between the tackles more than any QB in the NFL. He's what Jalen Hurts is what second in rushing stats to Lamar Jackson. Let me pull up the stats. 2000.
I mean,
let's see who has them. I know DJ is 5. Hold on. So Justin Fields has the most. Lamar Jackson second. Jalen Hurts has third. Like Jalen Hurts runs between the tackles probably more than any QB in the NFL.
Jeez.
Like they run him straight up between the tackles. So there's going to be a lot of issues.
Big Blue in the Bronx has a good question. Do you think this is a 1-game thing for Odarius or a rest of the year thing? And I think that's
I think it's a 1-game thing.
Yeah.
Like Tay Crowder said that he apologized to the team. So it was addressed in-house. I think this is probably just a 1-game thing. Now I'm not saying he's going to come back and start next week, but I don't think he'll be a healthy and active next week.
Or maybe it's entirely possible we just don't know the true story and the beat reporters won't tell us he's injured for another 2 months.
Yeah, that could be it too. Is our beat reporters are just always late with everything. So I'm looking forward to hearing the story about Rodarius Williams in February, which is what usually happens. Let's see. Bobby going? No, I'm done with Giants games this year.
Guys, chalk that one up as a loss. I'm probably going to it, so sorry for that.
What game are you going to?
The Colts game. So chalk that up as a loss.
No, let's chalk it up as a win. We got to win. That's the game we have to win.
No, very good.
So, all right, we'll go for 2 more minutes. Get us to some last questions. Doug, you thought about doing live all 22 again every once in a while again. I've thought about it. The issue is the quality is not great. I've thought about it, but I really do. I think the film reviews are a great product. Not to sound cocky, but it's like I think I do a good job of telling the story of the game with those.
No, you do.
But the all 22 film reviews, like those were fun because it's like I can literally show everyone the whole game and there's no like questions about like what happened on this and it's a little more interactive. The issue is I would spend like 5 hours doing those. Like I would do offense and then defense, and they would literally each take over 2 hours. So that's the thing. But we want to live stream more. It's just we do so much. It's like the live stream gets crazy. So we always say we want to live stream more, but we don't. Last year we did it we did a live stream every Wednesday.
Oh yeah, you did.
We used to have guests and stuff, but it's like kind of Wednesday night is like the only week night in the week where it's like we don't have something we have to do. So we'll see. But I want to get back to live streaming more.
I love live streaming.
I do. Live streaming is very enjoyable. I love talking with the chat. It's like the most interactive we get to be. Let's see.
Oh, what corny dig are we lying against Slayton today?
Can we get a Jake guest feature? Yeah. Jake is killing it in the spread picks this year, by the way.
He runs the league.
I know. It's insane. He's 10-3. I think at one point he was like 4-3, and he's like rattled off 6 in a row.
That's kind of jokes. Who do you think is going to line up against Slayton? Because me and Kyle were talking about it. It kind of,
I hope it's Darius Slay. I hope it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
James Bradbury.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
Darius Slayton can beat Darius Slay. And he's done
Yeah.
it before. Bradbury scares me, man. Bradbury is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL at baiting you into turnovers. And it's not like Slayton's some amazing receiver. He's a solid receiver. So I hope it's Darius Slay, because Darius Slay, you just kind of got to beat him off the release, and Darius Slayton's fast enough to win that. And he's done it in the past.
Yeah.
I'd almost be like an avoid Bradbury at all costs.
Yes.
Like I would avoid him at all costs. Like he's
Bradbury,
the one who worries me. He will change the game for you. Darius Slay, I don't think really will.
He'd also make us look extremely silly today. It's going to be. I'm not looking forward to playing him.
Also, if we win today, that's my number one ask from the New York Giants. My second would be that Darius Slayton has a good game versus Darius Slay, and I could tweet out big play Slay and tweet out his annoying wife and all these annoying Eagles fans.
I mean, because obviously, like our friend Kyle, he's hoping he could say big play Slay against Darius Slayton. Not like, well, that's just unfortunately not going to happen today.
The funny thing is, if people don't remember, me and Danny this podcast started as Giants Nation podcast for Wegrin Enterprises, a different media company. And if you remember, like in 2020, I went on one of their Eagles podcasts because they're based out of Philly. Danny looks like he's frozen. Oh, I thought you were actually frozen.
I'm back.
Remember I went on that, like, the Eagles Nation podcast, and they're like, all right, give us a bold prediction. I was like, ooh, I don't really do bold predictions. I was like, I'll say Darius Slayton will win the matchup versus Darius Slay. So do this whole podcast with them. They clip that part and put it on social media for Eagles fans, and Eagles fans are. So then remember when Darius Slayton caught that, like, essentially game sealing catch in the 2020 game where Jones had the read option plays?
Yeah.
And so I literally went and responded to every single Eagles fan.
When you respond to every single Eagles fan, that killed me every time.
Yeah, every single Eagles. I went and responded to every single person who said something about that.
So that was a hilarious moment.
So Wegrin Enterprises, don't do us dirty ever again. So, all right. Well, we will see you guys after the game.
Patreon.
Me and Justin will be recording a podcast probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock on patreon.com/talkinggiants, $2 a month. You get free stickers if you join that. If not, it'll be out on YouTube at 8 a.m. on podcast apps in the early morning hours. Let's win some games. Let's win some games. We appreciate you guys. Let's go Big Blue.